The triumph of faith facing oneself. The themes of this story are peace, moral leadership, and the importance of introspection. The king at the center of the story has a daily habit of circling a Buddhist temple tower for self-reflection and introspection. This is depicted as a spiritual practice to improve the quality of his rule. The king's actions become clear even when he faces external threats. When the king of a neighboring country attacks, he continues his daily routine without panic. This action symbolizes calmness and a belief in peace. He preaches the foolishness of shedding blood and fighting, and emphasizes the importance of introspection to find true happiness and joy. This story conveys the message that true leadership comes from inner peace and moral strength. It also shows an attitude of trying to resolve conflicts through moral attitudes and spiritual strength, rather than physical force or military intimidation. The king's stance is ultimately understood by the king of the neighboring country, and they are able to avoid battle. This could be said to demonstrate the power of leadership that promotes peace and understanding. Story. Once upon a time, there was a king who greatly valued morality. The king always thought about the right way to live as a human being, acted rightly, and was respected by everyone. The king had one daily routine. It was to circle a Buddhist temple tower 100 times. He rarely took a break, and he never neglected his duties as king because of it. One day, as he was circling the tower as usual, he was thinking about how the people of the country could become happy and how they could live each day with joy. Circling the tower 100 times was a tremendous task. It also took time. But for the king, it was also an important time to think about national affairs and to reflect. Eventually, as he was about to reach 50 rounds, one of his retainers came running to the king out of breath. And he said, changing his complexion,
"It's terrible, Your Majesty. The king of the neighbouring country has led a large army to attack us. Your Majesty, please stop circling the tower and return to the castle immediately. And please issue an order to drive away the soldiers of the neighbouring country."
However, the king said very leisurely as he walked around the tower,
"If they have come to attack, then so be it. Isn't that also fine?"
"Your Majesty, this country is about to be taken away."
I understand.
While nodding and saying yes, yes, the king ignored the retainer's desperate pleas and did not attempt to stop walking around the tower. The king told the retainer something as he walked. Upon hearing it, the retainer had a puzzled look on his face, but soon hurried back to the castle. How much time had passed since then? The retainer returned to the king, tilting his head. And he reported,
"Your Majesty, I don't know why, but the king of the neighbouring country has led his army back."
Is that so?
The king nodded and then asked,
What did you say to the king of the neighboring country?
The king of the neighbouring country said, "Bring out your king." So I replied, "His Majesty is currently circling the tower." He said, "How carefree when his own country is in such a terrible state." So I said, "As you told me, Your Majesty, it's foolish to fight, shed blood and take each other's lives. Can fighting for selfish reasons truly be called the right way to live? Circling the tower is not done for his own sake alone. What is the truly right way to live? What is true happiness? What is true joy? That is what he is seeking. Just because his country is about to be taken, he cannot neglect that important matter. That is our king's belief," I replied.
Well said.
"No, I merely conveyed your words, Your Majesty."
The king of the neighboring country is also very wise. He understood my feelings well.
the king said happily.
I'm almost done, so why don't you walk with me?
Smiling broadly, he began walking again as if nothing had happened. If you wish for what is right and act single-mindedly according to that wish, any disaster will vanish. Just like this king, there are several lessons from this story that modern people can apply to their daily lives. The first is the importance of introspection. The king in the story takes time for introspection every day while circling the tower. For modern people, taking time for self-reflection in the midst of a busy daily life can help maintain mental peace and make wiser decisions. The second is calmness and patience. The king remains calm and composed even in the face of the neighboring country's threat. Even in today's stressful and pressured environments, maintaining calmness and patience can lead to effective problem solving. The third is the pursuit of nonviolence and peace. The king avoids war and chooses peace. In modern society as well, the importance of resolving conflicts and misunderstandings through dialogue and understanding rather than violence is shown. The fourth is moral leadership. The king's actions demonstrate the importance of prioritizing higher moral values over power or status. This is an important element in modern leadership as well, for gaining trust and respect. The fifth is an attitude of seeking better solutions rather than being satisfied with the status quo. The king does not simply accept the situation as it is, but seeks better solutions. This teaches the importance of actively tackling the various challenges that modern people face, rather than being passive. This story teaches us the importance of valuing introspection, calmness, nonviolence, moral leadership, and active problem solving in both personal growth and social contribution. On the other hand, there are also several points to keep in mind when learning from this story. The first is unrealistic idealism. The story shows an ideal outcome, but in real life, things may not always work out this well. While it is important to pursue ideals, it is also necessary to consider realistic constraints and practical aspects. The second is the abandonment of responsibility. The king focuses on circling the tower and continues to do so even when faced with a military threat. For modern leaders and individuals, it is important not to turn a blind eye to important responsibilities or urgent issues. It is necessary to strike a balance. The third is the limitation of acting alone. The king indulges in introspection alone, but in modern society, cooperation and teamwork are important. Ignoring collaboration and communication with others risks overlooking important perspectives and having insufficient solutions. The fourth is excessive unreality. The ending of the story is very calm and ideal, but complex real-world problems often do not have easy solutions. It is important to face reality and seek feasible solutions. The fifth is the trap of excessive introspection. Introspection is important, but indulging in it excessively may lead to a lack of action. It is important to maintain a balance between thought and action. When learning from stories, it is important to consider the realism and practicality of applying their lessons to real-life contexts. While pursuing ideals, it is necessary to act based on actual circumstances and possibilities.